Hello, I'm Robin, Carol's sister, here to introduce you to the wealth of stories I've discovered behind the original art of Carol J. Matthews. Over the years that I have been curating and cataloging Carol's art, I have collected these journals of her original sketchbook art. These sketchbook journals represent stories behind so much of her artwork that gave me a whole new perspective into the world of mental illness as well as art appreciation. I share it with you in an effort to help both sufferers and supporters dealing with mental illness.
Carol began exhibiting symptoms of schizoaffective disorder in 1974 at the age of 18 in her freshman year of college and struggled with it her entire adult life until she committed suicide in 2015 at the age of 58. The objective of sharing Carol's story and her art is to aid in bringing family and friend supporters into the mind of a person who is suffering from a mental illness, to try to walk in their shoes with the hope that it will help us understand the skewed perspective that is a person's reality on a daily basis when they are suffering from a mental illness, and to help us be there for them to support and be their advocate. I would rather be painting was probably Carol's best way of retreating from the world and leading a normal life for herself. Art was Carol's therapy. Carol worked out of her converted garage studio and used her art to express what was in her mind. Carol committed suicide in 2015 at the age of 58, and we 6 siblings inherited her originals. Over 60% of her lifetime original artworks are in private collections. We are making her remaining originals and her story behind her art available for purchase, as well as to raise awareness of mental illness. Here are some of the stories shared in Carol's story behind her art that I discovered in her sketchbooks that helped me get into her head, into her reality, to really scrutinize her art from all perspectives to find these clues. Carol was a tomboy when she was a child, and her best friend was a boy named John. John, or Johnny, became her alter ego in her mind while she struggled with her inner doubts, as witnessed by a sketchbook page where she recorded a mental conversation of her inner turmoil between herself and Johnny. Johnny had self-confidence, an ego, was a good person, a good artist, and was smart. This piece, done in pastels, is one of my favorite pieces of Carol's. Carol was a prolific artist and able to draw or paint almost any subject in abstract form to realism form. The stage of her adult life appears to determine the subjects, with her early years reflecting her college art courses and the later years reflecting subjects representing the progression of her schizoaffective disorder. The majority of her cataloged art consists of abstracts, people, and landscapes. Carol was also quite comfortable experimenting across different mediums. She seemed to favor watercolors, pens, graphite, and oil. Watercolors, done on paper, were less expensive to produce than oils. Most of her oils were created on larger stretched canvas. Her brother often created the stretched canvases for her. Pen and graphite were the least expensive for her budget. The majority of her figure drawings, mostly created in art classes, are done in charcoal. She once spent a day dabbling in tissue paper collages and sat at her kitchen table making as many as she could, and then was done with that medium. One additional thing I learned in curating and cataloging Carol's art was the significant difference framing makes to the presentation of a piece of art, and that framing is the most expensive cost to an artist. I came to understand that not all artists can afford to offer framed art for sale. Framing is also a very personal design choice. So, I knew that when viewing unframed art, I could turn a rough rock that I liked into a precious gem with the right framing. I hope this video has helped you to understand the inner workings of the mind of a person suffering from a mental illness, to help you walk in their shoes. Know that there are wonderful resources available for both the sufferer and the supporters. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is a great place to start.